Welcome to Yahoo Finance Live. I'm Akiko Fujita along with Zach Guzman. It is noon over in New York City. Let's take a look at where the markets are trading right now. We are seeing all the major indices posting gains to round off this trading week. This coming despite disappointing jobs numbers. The S&P 500 building on its record, hitting a new high in this session, and the Dow hitting a new 52-week high as well. In terms of sectors, we're seeing energy gain in a big way. That sector up about 5%, and some big moves in treasury yields. The 10-year T-note hitting a 3-week high on that disappointing economic data this morning. And as Jared noted earlier, the yield curve expanding, factoring in inflation expectations increasingly here. Let's begin, though, with that number that we got this morning. 245,000 jobs added in the month of November. That is much lower than the 440,000 that was expected, and a significant drop-off from the 610,000 we saw in October. Brian Cheung breaking down the numbers for us today. And Brian, we're looking at sectors here, some notable gains in transportation and warehousing, but government and retail trade seeing declines yet again.
Well, there's a lot to unpack in this report, but as you mentioned, the big headline number, 245,000 jobs gained in the month of November. That fell over 200,000 short of the street's estimates, but the unemployment rate was about in line with what the street had expected at about 6.7%. But that's a much slower recovery than what we saw as the difference between the September and the October jobs reports, with the last October jobs report being at 6.9%, not much higher than where we saw it tick down to in November. Now, other really important things to highlight in this report, the amount of permanent job losers did not appear to go down. It was about unchanged at 3.7 million in the month of November. And as you mentioned, if you unpack by different types of industries, it was transportation and warehousing where we saw a bulk of those gains, about 145,000 gain in the month of November. A lot of that was offset by the loss in the federal jobs space. So federal government jobs actually declined by about 99,000. Now, a lot of that could be due to the census work, since a lot of that has ended with the 2020 census about to wrap up. Now, a few other important numbers: the labor force participation rate tilted down to 61.5%, not necessarily a good sign either. And if you were to break out the numbers for the jobs report by demographic, the Black unemployment rate still remains in double digits despite the headline 6.7% unemployment rate. The Black unemployment rate at 10.3%, that's substantially larger than white Hispanic percentages. So again, it does show that the recovery is still happening, albeit a lot slower and also still quite uneven. Akiko, Zach?